All right. Welcome to Be Great With Us. My name is Nate Ortiz.
And I'm Haskiri Velasquez.
And Haskiri and I have been together for 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We started off broke. We started off young. And we started off in a long-distance relationship. All the things that people today say you can't do. And we did it during the internet, a part of life too. Yeah. It's not like it was 1990s.
Right.
Bro, we're talking about 10 years ago, bro, when...
Right.
Listen, I slid on her DM. So the social media was around. All that stuff existed. You feel me?
The year was 2015. Okay, we need some context. It wasn't like BC. All right. 2015.
Yeah. Haskiri and I decided to make this podcast because we wanted to bring more hope to people out there that have a desire to want to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Not only that, we call this Be Great With Us because every day Haskiri and I wake up and we push each other. We push ourselves, and then we come together as a team to make sure that we're lifting each other up. Now, I became a celebrity coach. I became a published author, and I made podcasts. I make YouTube videos. I had a TikTok, and Haskiri also became and made her dreams come true, becoming an actress, right?
Yeah. I was the lead of the new Saved by the Bell that's on Peacock. I was in movies on Netflix. I'm currently being hired to do speeches. I'm about to do a graduation speech as the keynote speaker. So over these 10 years that Nate and I have been together, we made basically all of our dreams come true. But not only that, we started off, like he said, broke. I'm from Dyckman, Washington Heights, New York, like born and raised, and he's from Jersey City, New Jersey. And there was just so many life lessons that we had to learn within that 10 years that was growing in a relationship. I was 19 when I met him. He was 20.
Yeah, make sure you make sure you say I'm 20.
Yeah,
because I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? Shorty made me sound like I was only 19 when he found me.
No, we were appropriate ages. We were just right. So I was young, and when you're 19 and you have this dream and you're chasing this dream, and then you find someone that you feel that could be your soulmate, the love of your life, right? There's so many lessons that come in that as well. But not only in relationship, we're doing this podcast because there's things that we had to learn financially, things that we had to learn about getting our first home. We have 3 dogs, and not only going through a long distance relationship once, but we experienced it twice, right? We went across the country. We moved across the country, I should say, twice. And we just been go since 2015. And every time we have conversations with friends or strangers or family, whoever it is, one of the first questions that they ask us is, well, how do you make it work? Like, tell us, like, what was it like? We want to know, right? Because 10 years is a long time, and it's very rare to find people who've been together for 10 years that came from like our generation. Like, you hear about these love stories, but it's always like your grandparents or, like, no, for real, right? Like, am I?
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, but also some of it is kind of like actually like true, right? Where you hear people that are, right now I'm 31, I'll be 32 in like 2 weeks, my birthday. Yeah. You got something for my birthday, bro? You doing something for my birthday?
Of course I have something for your birthday. Okay.
So
actually,
I'll be 32 and Haskiri will be 30 this year.
Shh, cállate.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm saying though, but we started off, when we were young. I went through college with Haskiri. I was supposed to go to the NFL. You hear all these stories. We got all stories with life lessons for you based off our experience, right? That's very important. Yeah. But the goal is to really bring you hope. And outside of bringing you hope just with a relationship, these stories are going to teach you the importance of taking care of yourself first in a relationship. So Haskiri, she's not allowed to wake up and do things for me right in the morning. I'm like, bro, you got to take care of yourself. And then respectfully, I need time for myself when I first wake up and to fill my cup up too. So when we get together, we're good to go.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that young, old, whatever, that are losing kind of hope because of the social media. You have a lot of fake influencers or fake experts that tell you about love, but haven't been in a relationship more than 5 months.
Right.
We've been doing this for 10 years, bro. We never broke up. Ain't no cheating over here. We're engaged. We're about to get married. We own a house together. We have 3 dogs. We were in Hollywood together. We did everything that you can think about when it comes down to making a dream come true. And we got proof. of all this because we recorded vlogs. You can go check it out. Love Across the Hudson on YouTube. We were together broke. And the goal is to show you either you're here want to learn about a relationship or you're here to become a better version of yourself to attract your relationship. Just listen to the life lessons. We want to give you the game. Yeah. We want to give you game based off life lessons. And the goal is to really inspire you to keep it real. And it wasn't
like to be on like 100% honest, because that's what we're going to bring to you on this podcast. It wasn't always easy. There were moments where we were like, I know there was moments where I was like kind of scared because I'm like, yo, is this the end? Like, how do we overcome this obstacle that we're facing, right? Like, these are natural things I think a lot of people in relationships have, but the fact that we were able to overcome that and communicate that and be able to still be here together and still experience certain moments like that, that just goes to show you that every single time you're going to grow, you're going to learn. But this is why we're bringing you this podcast, because we want to share those moments with you, those vulnerable moments where we're like, yo, you're not alone in this. This also happened to us, or we also experienced what you're going through. And maybe this can help because this is what helped us. So, and it's not always going to be relationship, like he said. We're going to mindset,
even bringing guests on too, like, we became professionals in our careers where we were cool with other professionals, and they got great stories. And this thing is all about inspiring you to be great, right? The goal of being great. I have a YouTube channel called Be Great with Nate. My name, I go by Be Great with Nate. And there is no Be Great with Nate without Be Great with Us, because Haskiri is the one that taught me how to edit the video. If it wasn't for Haskiri, I had nowhere to live after college. You're going to learn all these stories. Haskiri was the only one to think I wasn't crazy. And I was in the same thing, vice versa. When she had her dream, I didn't think she was crazy. I supported her. And in the midst of us being together and that support that we had, we was able to make our dreams come true. But I created Be Great with Nate. So the goal was like, yo, you know what? Let's go out there and let's try to inspire people. And the name is, what do you think about Be Great with Us? Because we're both trying to be great. And originally we was going to make this a part of a podcast series on Be Great with Nate. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Let's just give it its own channel, because we may just attract a different audience and get this thing going. So we want to start this thing off by how Haskiri and I first met, how we met to begin with. Our first date, which was insane, talking about the universe coming through for your boy.
Yeah, yes.
Right? That's crazy.
Now that I know the story, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. And then when Haskiri and I kind of like, we've like, yo, okay, we're going to be starting this thing off as like long distance relationship, bro. Is this doable, or is this something you want to do? Right. So we're going to bring you through that whole story. And you want to say something before we get started? Because you want me to tell the story, right?
Yeah, I always want him to tell the story of how we first met, because I just feel like he says it a little bit more romantic, but also since he's the one who initiated it, I feel like there's more context on his end than there will be on my end.
Here's how this whole thing went down, all right? Take notes. I'm home from college. I got a couple weeks, 4 weeks off for winter break. I make my way down to Miami for the first like 3.5 weeks. I come back home. I'm preparing to go back down to Delaware. I didn't have Instagram. I deleted it at the time. I was so focused on my football career that I just wanted to, like, my junior year was coming up. So I wanted to like do everything I can to go pro, right? So I was like, yo, you know what? While I'm here, I'm preparing. I'm counting down the hours. Like, yo, I'm about to go back to the school. Damn, I'm gonna miss my family. So I was like, you know what? Let me go on Instagram real quick, just in case one of my teammates try to contact me, or maybe I can catch a ride with Keon. Now I had a teammate that Keon, we used to get together, and we used to go back down to Delaware together to school, to college. So I go on Instagram, and immediately I saw this girl post a photo, and I followed this girl from a couple months ago. I saw this girl post a photo of a group of girls, and I looked at the girls, and I was like, as soon as I scanned across, I saw Haskiri. I didn't know it was Haskiri. And I was like, yo, who is that? Now, this is before it became a thing where you go and slide girls' DMs, right? So what I mean is, there's a song, if you know, it goes down in the DM. It goes down in the DM. I did that before the song came out. I feel like he owed me a check. Ooh. You feel me? So I sat there and I was like, yo, you know what? Like, this girl's beautiful. Like, and I went to kind of like move on from the post, and I was like, nah, yo, bro, that is probably the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Like, I need to jump on that. Now, I wasn't going on dates at this time. I didn't want to go on dates. I was kind of like laying low. I was so focused, yo. But I couldn't move on from that photo. So I went to go tap and see if her page, because I'm like, yo, this girl had to tag all these girls. She didn't tag Haskiri. So I was like, oh man, there's no way you didn't tag her. I'm like, you know what? Fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through your Instagram and I'm going to go find this girl. I know y'all posted another photo together. This can't be your only photo. As I went through her Instagram, she didn't post no other photos of Haskiri. So I said, damn, I have to figure this thing out. So the girl had mad followers. She wasn't following as much. Let's just say she had like 4,000 followers and she was following probably like 1,500. Now, this was the thing before people were able to have bots as followers. Yeah. Like, so 1,500 followers or 4,000 followers is a lot of followers. Like, especially like 4,000 or 5,000 is a lot of followers when Instagram first started. So I end up seeing who she followed. And I'm like, I know you follow her. And I went through all 1,500 people. And I was looking for that face. That same face that showed up.
He pulled a U. The TV show, a Joe Goldberg
I'm gonna
moment.
find you.
Exactly.
You're mine.
Right.
You need to know what love feels like.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I went through her whole thing. And yo, bro, I couldn't find this girl. I was looking at all like the little icon photos, and then I was tapping on. Yeah, I was going on their pages and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's not her. That's not her. So I almost gave up. And there was this one page that had a Selena photo, and it was like 5,000 followers, and Shorty was only following like 300. You got to be bad if you got 5,000 followers and you only following 300 people. So I just requested it. It was a private page. So I requested it, and then I say like the next day I wake up and I just couldn't stop thinking about you. Like I'm like, yo, I got to find who this chick is. So I'm like, yo, how do I DM her friend to let her know, like, yo, I need to know who that girl is. And as soon as I went on Instagram, boom, Haskiri popped up on my feed. Come to find out, I was right. The girl that I requested was Haskiri. She accepted me, and then boom, Instagram showed me her first photo that she just recently posted. So right there, I was like, yo, you know what? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide on her DM, but I have to think about how to go about it. So I'm going through her photos, and I'm like, yo, I'm literally falling in love, yo. This is wild to think about, but yo, I fell in love. I was getting this, bro. So I was going through her photos, and I was like, yo, she's beautiful. And I was like, damn, bro, she getting like 2,300 likes on every photo. That's a heavy conversion rate. Like, if you got 5,000 followers and you're getting 2,300 likes out of it, like 5,000 followers and 2,300 likes averaging, bro, your conversion rate is very high. Yo, that was very impressive. So I'm like, oh man,
I should have had them on my email list.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So I'm like, all right, boom, I'm gonna slide on her DM. What do I do? So I'm sitting there, I was like, yo, I can hit her with this line, I can hit her with that line. I was like, you know what, yo, I'm gonna just be real with her, yo, because I really like feel like, yo, I love this girl. It was weird. I never had that first love at first sight. I never believed in that. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's like if you're in the suburbs, bro. Like, we don't get no love at first sight out here, you know what I'm saying? So then I just slid her in DM, and I had this selfie I took. It was like an innocent selfie. We have a photo of it. We have proof of it. That was mad light skin what I did, though. Now that I think about it, like, don't let my brother see that.
No, I mean, that photo was very light skinned. The way you posed and everything.
It was
very much.
It was. And my arm was hurting too, because I was holding that camera for a little while trying to get that perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that was probably like the last selfie I took.
Exagerado. But the funny thing is, though, that when you slid in my DMs, though, I was used to getting a lot of guys in my DMs, but a lot of their stuff was like, hola mamita, oh, you so pretty, like, you bad, you this, like, I could get you this, come, let me take you here. And I'm like, first of all, I could do all this for myself, delete. But Nate was smart. His approach was different.
Because I knew that. I knew that already, though. I knew that you was going to have all dudes, and I knew, because I was at a disadvantage. I was broke. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. I can't even talk like that. Like, I was very broke. Like, I just started cutting hair in college. You know, when you're a full-time athlete and a student athlete, you're not making money, bro. Like, I was very grateful to get that scholarship, but yo, I was broke, yo. Yeah. And I was broke to the point where I was like, yo, you know what? Like, that's not gonna work. And I know I'm not gonna win against other guys like that. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be mad vulnerable. I'm just like, yo, hi, how you doing? My name is Nate. My name is Nathan, but only my mother calls me that when she's upset. People call me Nate. And I know you probably got like 1,000 dudes in your DM, but I just wanted to properly introduce myself. I put the phone down. I had anxiety. I'm walking around the crib. I'm like, yo, how do I go about this? And then I go back on Instagram like an hour later, and then Haskiri got right back to me with the eyes and says, hi Nathan. She called me Nathan. She disrespected me. I told her only my mother calls me Nathan when she's mad at me. So Haskiri got back to me, yo, and she was like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you. I'm an aspiring actress." And I was like, I read it like 10 times.
Yeah.
Because I was like jumping around the crib a little bit. Like, yo, I went in my dad's bedroom. I was like, yo, Dad, I just DM'd this baddie, bro. Like, and I showed him. He's like, oh, Pa, she's beautiful. I'm like, yo, Dad, I'm gonna pull this one. Watch, bro. So now I put the phone down because I'm like, I have to think about the perfect response, because the last thing I want is to say something that turns you off and then lose my opportunity. But then again, I'm also like a little in my head too. I'm like, yo, this is crazy because like I'm about to go back down to Delaware. Like, am I going to be able, is this realistic or whatever? But I'm like, I don't care.
48 hours left.
48 hours. Right. I was going back to Delaware, bro. Yeah. My 1996 Honda Accord 2-door. That was, one of the doors were broken. We'll get into that. So basically, I come back to the phone. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Like 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm ready. I know what I got to say. As soon as I went back to the phone and I went in the DM, Haskiri already got back to me. She goes, look, text me though, because I'm never on this app. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was just thinking for 2 hours on how to get her number, and she just gave me the number. Yo, I felt like I hit like the lottery that day, bro. I did hit the lottery that day.
And it was like vice versa, the feeling, because I'm like, something like drew me to you instantly, where I was like, I want to know more about him. Like, and also he only had like 5 photos on his Instagram. So I was like, is he catfish? You had like 7 likes on each photo. Like, it was 2 different profiles. If you took mine and it was 2 different, but I also really wasn't like, I would go on Instagram, I would post a picture, and I would go about my way. Like, I was taking acting classes at the time. I was going to like this, like nothing, not a crazy acting classes, but it was like an intensive. And I was like finding myself on Instagram more and more because I wanted him to text or like write to me already. So I was like, yo, what's taking him so long? Like, I'm like, all right, I don't want to be on this app longer than what I need to. I'm gonna just send him my number. Let's see what he does with it.
Bro, I was stressing, bro. Yeah. I was stressing, bro. I was stressing because I played every scenario out, and I just wanted to make sure I was able to come through, but I was just stressing, I was just stressing. So basically she gave me the number. I got the digits and I was like, oh, it's in there. So I texted her and said, hey, it's Nate, whatever. She's like, oh, hi, Nate, whatever. She's like, you was on your way to acting class. Yeah. And you were like, I'm getting me a coffee.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's what's up. I love coffee. And then boom, shorty out of nowhere wants to FaceTime me. She wants to FaceTime me. So I'm laying in bed.
Gotta make sure you're not catfish. Hello.
Nah. I was so excited.
I wasn't trying to be on the catfish show.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
My brother was on it.
That's true. No, I was starting to think you were catfish low key because I was like, yo, there's no way she's giving me this opportunity like this. Like, I kind of thought you was catfish a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So Haskiri decides to give me a phone call. FaceTime me.
And you igged it. You ignored my FaceTime.
I ignored it.
So,
bro, I didn't have a haircut.
Hot chocolate. Yeah, but listen, I get my hot chocolate. And then within a few minutes, you FaceTime me back. So I'm like this with the cup about to hit my lip. And then I see the FaceTime. So I'm like, I take a sip and it burned my tongue. I burned my tongue with the hot chocolate. And
that's your problem.
I was pissed.
Yeah, that's your problem. I was pissed too. I'm mad at you. I'm just gonna find. Nah, I didn't know you. Well, what happened was you put me on the spot, bro. I didn't have a haircut. That's number one. Number two, when I didn't pick up, you said, I think you're catfish. Now, I was stressing. I was questioning if you were catfish, but as soon as you said, I think you're catfish, I panicked a little bit. So I was like, yo, I don't have a haircut. So I said to you, yo, I don't have a haircut. And you said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I said, oh, she's a little different.
Yeah, because I'm like, just show your face, put a hat on.
Well, what I did is I jumped up and went to the bathroom and I combed the hell out of my hair. Like, I took a comb and a brush and I was brushing my hair. I had short hair at the time. I was like, so I was like, all right, boom, 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 boom. And then I just put a shirt on. Because I didn't have a shirt on, and then I was like looking at lighting. So I was sitting down on the camera, like, okay, I'm gonna sit on my dad, like on the steps or something like that. Then when I did FaceTime you, you're like, oh, I thought you was catfish. I'm like, no. And then you're like, all right, so let me ask you a question. Why you get only like 7 likes and why you like your Instagram? And I said, I could have lied right there, or I could have I was like, yo, I'm just gonna be honest. Where I knew the way to win you was just to be me all the way.
Yeah.
Plus, I just learned the importance of like, just like really just being yourself. You feel me? Like I've always been that way with myself, but I was very private with women. Like, I'm not going to tell you all that right now, bro. What's wrong with you?
Right.
But this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something different. Like, I'm willing to be so vulnerable with her and just put everything on the table. And if you don't like me, fine. At least I tried.
It wasn't much on that table, let me tell you. No, I'm just kidding.
It was more bad than, I mean, not more bad, but it was more like what they say is like.
It wasn't materialistic things, I would say, which is something that I feel like I was used to from other guys. But what you came with was like, and I know you're about to get to that point of the story, but you came with like knowledge.
Oh.
Like it was just different. I was like, ooh, tell me more. Like I was just so infatuated with you. And I was like, first of all, you was fine, okay? I mean, you still fine.
Oh, thank you.
But I was like, ooh,
That's
one
so
of the
nice
photos
of
you had on your Instagram was you without a shirt with like some red shorts. And I was like, damn. I was staring at that picture a little too long. I was like, why is this photo 15 hours long?
No. What I meant, yeah, we'll get to the part where what I was saying is I really was like upfront. You asked me why I wasn't posting. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I grew up around drug dealers. I grew up with a bunch of drug dealers. I'm just being honest. They all protected me growing up, but I was around it, and I was a good boy. I was a good kid, right? But at the end of the day, I was just trained not to share so much information. It's just second nature. And my dad's a drug dealer, uncles, best friends. So I said, that's the reason why I'm really posting. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like I just put it all on the table. Like here's everything, you know? So then Haskiri goes, what do you like? And, you know, she's trying to, we're getting to know each other. And she goes, do you like sushi?
Yeah.
I said, I love sushi. I never had sushi a day in my life. Because I knew that question was going to come up with like, let's go get sushi, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yo.
I'm like, what are you doing later tonight or something?
Nothing.
Like, right. He probably did have plans, but he was like, nothing. I don't know. Did you?
I don't know. I don't remember if I had plans or not. I mean, I'm pretty sure my brother made plans for me or he planned to do something with me. But nah, bro, I ain't have no plans. I had nothing.
Yeah.
So she goes, you like sushi? I love sushi. I never had sushi a day in my life. She goes, do you want to get sushi tonight? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Maybe you can come get me at this time, like 7:30 or 8. And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
We hung up. Bro, I had no money. I had I had no money. I had like $17 to take back to Delaware because I had to pay for the toll. So the toll from Jersey City down to the Delaware Bridge was like $12.50, and then you had to pay for Route 1 through Delaware to get back to school. And I had like $4 or $5 for gas.
And he had to come get me. And I was living on Dykeman, Washington Heights. So if you think about that, when he wants to go back to the Jersey side, he has to pay a toll. So that toll was like $16 or $15.
At the time, it was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
Now it's like $18.
It would left him with like $1. He only had $17.
Yeah. But I didn't care. I said, yeah, I'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
So I said that, and I really didn't know how I was going to make that happen. No BS. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like walking in circles in my dad's apartment or whatever. And I'm like, damn, what I'm going to do? And out of nowhere, my mother comes upstairs. Now, I'll give you a small, quick 20-second thing about my mom. My mom was an abusive mother. She was she's a drug addict, right? But she also has mental health. She's schizophrenic. She's bipolar, and she abandoned us and abused us, right? So she wasn't really around like that, right? And you know, she comes out of nowhere. Her and my dad have a relationship to the point where my dad always wants to keep an eye on her so she doesn't get too lost up, right? Or caught up in the street. So she comes over with her husband at the time, and they come upstairs, and my dad's cool with both of them. And she goes, hey, baby. And I was like, hey, ma. I was like thinking, whatever. She's like, come here. I said, oh, man, here we go. She's going to tell me some stories. She's going to do this. And she goes, yo, bro, my mother passed me $100 bill. Yo, first time in my life, my mother passed me $100 bill. She goes, I know you're going to school. I just want you to have some money in your pocket. And then my stepfather, you know, he's like, yeah, puppy, you got keep the money. Yeah, you're a good kid.
Puerto Rican.
So I said, oh my God. I said, Ma, this is perfect. Look, I want to take this girl on a date. She said, oh, she's beautiful. Y'all gonna get married. And she just walked away. I was like, all right. Now I'm like, all right, boom. I made a phone call to my boy. I was like, yo, look, I need a haircut for tonight. but I'm not going to be able to pay you because, I'm going to hit you off later, whatever. He's like, no problem. So I got a haircut. Boom. I had this one outfit that I wore 4 times in Miami. It was a blue shirt, black jeans, and Vans. I was broke, bro. I'm going to keep it 1,000. And then, so I got dressed, and then I haven't drove into New York City. We didn't do that. Like, we took buses and train. We took the train. It was like a 10-minute train ride. You feel me? So I have this $100 and I pulled up. This is when you can actually, when you go to the bridge or you go to the Holland Tunnel, I went to the bridge. You can do the easy pass or you do the cash. I went to the cash and Shorty gave me back she took like a whole 20 from me basically, It was 18, it was $16. I was like, damn, $16? I was like, all right. So now, cha-ching, I'm down to like 80, let's just round it off, $85, right? I go get Haskiri. I'm shaking a little bit. I'm like looking on my GPS and then I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, maybe she's going to judge me for having Vans on. Maybe she's going to judge me that I got this 1996 Honda Accord that, the door's a little broke. Hopefully she don't say nothing. But yo, you know what? Like, I'm just going to pull up. So we get to, Sickle Street. Boom. I pull up in front of Haskiri's building and I say, I'm downstairs. She goes, okay, I'll be right there. So I had to go park on the corner. So I go on the corner and I'm looking. Yeah. And then I see Haskiri coming down and I said, oh my God, it's happening. She's coming in the car. Like, yo, I'm about to pull this off. She gets in, she goes, hi. But as soon as she opens the door, bro, my door that was broke, detached.
It detached, like the plastic. Y'all know, like a car door has like that plastic inside, kind of where you put your little like trinkets and stuff. You put like napkins there. It's also like garbage holder, but that's like where you control the window. So that part and the outside part, which is metal or whatever the car material was, is separated. So I went to close the door and the plastic came with me only, and then the metal part was on the other side, and I was like, okay. I'm over here like stretching my arm, grabbing both and then closing it. But it didn't really like, at first I was like, what the? But then I also was like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. Like, because I was never brought up to like look for materialistic things. So I didn't really care. And like, I'm like, I don't know, like when I got in the car and like at first when I was fidgeting with the door, I was like, what the fuck? Right? And then I was like, okay, whatever. And then I turned and I was like, oh, snap.
That was
my love at first sight when I saw you in person.
For real? I never even knew that.
Yeah.
Damn. I got to find out on the podcast.
Sorry. I know we should have talked about this, but I feel like once I turned and I saw him, I was like, whoa. I don't know. It's like your aura was like, it was big. You had a big aura. And I was like,
yo.
Whoa. I know. He had a bright aura.
He had a big aura.
I know. I was trying to say because, like, all right, I'm 5'2" for context. Okay, Nate is 6'3". Okay, and so that I was like, when I saw him, I was like, whoa. I was like,
no, vibes is a real thing.
It is. It has such great energy. It was like people could say like, oh, you move too fast, but it was just like meant to be. Like there was just some energy that was pulling me to you that was like it was just gonna go. Like there was nothing that was gonna stop it. And now, because even me, like I was on the phone with my friend who actually I went out with that night of the photo that you saw, and I was like, okay, girl, he's in this black car. If I don't make it, like we're gonna be Mama Sushi, like just in case something. She's like, girl, you're gonna be fine. I'm like, yeah, but you never know. But I was also nervous, before meeting up with you. Like there was confidence I was like exuding, but deep down inside I was like a little nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? College, football player, like, ooh, okay, handsome, like I want to know more.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I just learned a lot just now. This is awesome. I'm about to just start putting you on the camera. Right. Just like how they have these people from the hood just be snitching on each other. As soon as you put them behind the camera, people start talking a little too much. But all jokes aside, you're gonna hear a lot of insiders from Haskiri and Nate. This is this is non-perverted, but if you say something that sounds like something, we're gonna be like, hey yo is like, yo, like slow it down. It's a joke. It's like if you're not from us, like, if you're not from where we're from, we'll break these things down so you can understand it. But after a while, you're gonna get the context. I'm playing with this microphone to make sure that I'm not annoying your ear. So what happened with my end is that the smell that you had this I say it's like a green tea mixed in with like passion fruit or something. Yo, that thing smells so good. And then as soon as you turn, I felt like the smell came off your skin and just hit me. You know what I'm saying? And I was embarrassed about the door situation, But when I saw you close the door and I knew it shut,
yeah,
I forgot about the door.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about the door. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna do that playing in the car on low, and like volume 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Even though I don't speak Spanish, those are my brothers.
All the Romeo songs, please, y'all.
So
more than I did at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To this day, dog. That's a bar. That's a fact.
Okay.
Yeah. You want lip sync?
We'll put you to the test. Not right now. Continue your story.
So we end up driving off, and then she's like, okay, so we're gonna go to Mama Sushi. You ever heard of Mama Sushi? I was like dazed out a little bit. I was trying to play it smooth, like, because the car, if you go over 20 miles per hour, the axle in the car go. So I was like, and I was like, yeah, no, I never. And she was like, okay, you're gonna take this left right here on Dykeman. We took a left. She was like, all right, it's right here, or we have to look for parking. And I was like, damn, we gotta look for parking. And then she's like, yeah, so we spun the block one time looking for parking. There was no parking. Nothing. And you were like, well, I made reservations for us at this time and this and this. I'm like, yo, bro, there's no way I'm gonna miss this date.
Yeah.
I parked right in front of the fire hydrant, right there on Broadway and Dykeman. Right, and I said, they told me. I'm taking a risk. We went inside, and when we went inside, it was mad, like,
I mean, this is Dykeman we're talking about. So anytime you're going to Mama Sushi, it's going to be
lit.
It's going to be lit. But when I went in there, first of all, me and some girl had the same tights. Like, literally the same.
Yeah, Haskiri was stressing about that.
I was like...
She was stressing about that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, I was shopping, like, at little shops. Like, I ain't have money either. So it's not like I was rocking, Gymshark or anything like that. Like, it was corner store tights kind of thing.
Yeah.
But... anyway, so we go in and we get like sat down by a group of like guys, right? It was like very loud.
Probably like 15 dudes, bro.
Yeah, it was
like 15 dudes. Now let me make this clear for those that don't know who you are and that don't understand. Haskiri got a body.
Yeah.
If you're new here, you could just I invite you to go check a body out on Instagram. Respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
Haskiri got a body, and it's like, you can't ignore it as a dude when you see her walk past, like she got the cheeks, she got the hips, she got everything is there, you feel me? So when you're by yourself and you're a dude that's not from the same neighborhood, there's like and you're from a different neighborhood, and then you pull up and then you pull, you dating one of their girls from their hood, you can't get too crazy. You can't get too cocky with it. You got to just be aware of your surroundings. So I'm sitting there with Haskiri, and there's like 15 dudes here, and I'm trying to enjoy the conversation that we first started off with, but it was really hard. But I didn't want to say nothing. I'm like, yo, she crazy. She thinks that I'm a punk out. I'll sit right here. And the waitress came. I mean, she called the waitress over. She said, can you do me a favor? Can you move us? I said, oh my God. Oh my gosh, she may be the one.
Yeah.
She may be the one.
I wanted to know. I was trying to hear you too. And they were like loud.
They were loud.
Yeah, they were loud.
So then we sit down, we get our seating, and then we sit down, and then Haskiri goes, do you like hookah? I never had hookah a day in my life. I said, I love hookah. I said, I love hookah.
Yeah.
She said, yeah. She goes, okay, let's order hookah. So the lady comes over. She goes, hookah? They speak in Spanish. She's like, yeah. She goes, then Haskiri looks at me and goes, that's going to be $30. I said,
so real quick, break down the math of what you had.
At $85 to my name right there. 30, I'm down to 55. So when that moment happened and they came with the hookah and they're setting it up and you're like, you're talking to me, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Because I had to do the calculation. Okay, I have to tip them. If I get something for 50, the tip has to be at least $10. So my budget's really 40. Okay, so now I'm at 40. Okay, I'm gonna act like I ate already. I was starving.
Yeah.
So Haskiri, she's like, that she's having hookah. We passed the hookah back and forth, and then we order. It was time to order the sushi. It goes, what's your favorite roll? And I just lied, and I looked and I saw the one that was easiest to spell out.
Yeah.
It's California roll.
Yeah. To this day, it's his favorite roll.
It's still my favorite roll.
Yeah, California.
I said the California roll.
Yeah.
She goes, oh yeah, I like the California roll too. I said, yeah. She's like, okay, so maybe we get a couple of these or these. I'm like, no. We just get one.
Right. I was used to like just picking anything. Like also, not to go too far off topic because I want y'all to hear the story, but I grew up with my dad my dad is someone who like just pick whatever you want, like whatever. So I was kind of used to that treatment. So I was like, oh yeah, we'll take that and take this and take that. Like, and I'm thinking this is a date. So I feel like
it is a date.
No, but I'm saying in my head, like this is what I'm like, well, it's a date. Like maybe we could pick a little bit more, like, cause we're going to have these conversations. So that's why I was like, oh, let's pick this and pick that. Like I wasn't just.
No. Haskiri is not like that at all.
Yeah.
Furthest thing from that.
Yeah.
I mean, the story itself, all the stories that you'll hear, you'll see that's, the proof of it or whatever. So we order. It was $8 for that California roll. I remember it was $8. I was like, I can't more. We get two and then
you're like,
get one and one. I'm like, I ate earlier, I'm good. So the lady takes our order. She leaves. And then like the music was playing. It was a good scene. And it got quiet for a second. I said, I got to come forward. Hey, look, I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, this is amazing. You're beautiful. Like, this is a vibe, but I'm broke. And I'm not going to be able to do these things all the time. Like, but I'm telling you right now, like, if you give me a couple years, I'm telling you this right now, if you give me a couple years, you can have anything you want. I'm in college right now. I'm the first one to graduate high school in my family. My dad was a drug dealer. My mom was a drug addict. My sister murdered my niece. My brother went to prison. My sister went to prison. I lost my family at 11. I was homeless since I was like 12. But I'm this close. I'm this close. I may go to the NFL. I'm studying this hard degree right now. And Haskiri was just like sitting there like.
I was like.
Yeah. In the face that she gave me, and as I'm saying that, I was a little nervous that she was getting turned off a little bit because I told her I'm in Delaware. Yeah. I leave in 48 hours. Yeah. I just spilled everything on the table because I didn't want us to start in a way where I just had to be honest. You feel me? You want to tell him what you said after? Because I messed this up all the time. You said
mess it up. So he's like, at one point after he does his little spiel, right, and he's throwing all this baggage on me. Basically, he was just like layering stuff on top, and I was just like, and then he goes, so I may not have enough money for like the bill. What did you say for that?
No, I had enough. I calculated.
Yeah,
I calculated. I had just enough. I was gonna leave like $3 in my pocket. Yeah, like $3-4. But I said to you, I said, I won't be able if we want to continue to see each other and stuff. Like I'm not sure where this is gonna go, but if we continue to see each other, I can't afford it. I can't afford to do things like this all the time.
And then I said, well, that's okay. I have a job.
Wow, I got hit with a bar. Whew, that was a bar.
Thank you. First bar podcast. I'm honored. Okay, but it's true because I've always been very independent. Like, I'm not someone who doesn't want to work. Like, I can't sit still. So I was like, yo, I have my own money. I make my own money. It's fine. Like, I can pay for my own thing. And I never had that mindset of like, the man has to pay for everything and do everything. Like, if I can meet you halfway, why not? So I was like, oh, okay. It didn't bother me. Like, it didn't scare me away. That's what I'm telling you. This force was just like, okay, like letting her speak and then being like, okay, so what's next?
Well, on the other end too, it didn't like I didn't have like the thought process of like, oh, maybe if I'm dating this chick, she's up here, she look good, she probably just gonna be playing me out on the low. That never went through my mind because I think for this, it was a moment where I just literally said like, yo, I'ma just give it my shot, and I'm not letting no negative thoughts come in my mind. If it happens, you know what? I tried. That was my thing. I was like, yo, I'm just going to be 100% upfront and vulnerable, and I'm going to try. And so then after Haskiri said that, I was like, oh, wow. And I said, well, I'm cutting hair too. I'll make a little bit of money. And then, but I'm telling you, if I don't go pro, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be successful. Yeah. I'm going to be very successful. And she's like, no, I believe in you.
Like, that didn't really like impress me. Like, it was good that he was doing something, but it wasn't like the pro thing. I never saw it as like a way to be like no, honestly, never.
Absolutely not. No,
and
I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, the story later on in the podcast of like what happened.
What happened? Yeah. No. You never made me feel like that either. But I was just telling you, it don't matter if it's football or if it's me being a librarian. Like, I'm gonna get it. You feel me? And I didn't really have to say. You didn't make me feel like I had to prove myself so much. I guess I was just being. You know how someone tells you something, but you can feel like they lying or something like that? Yo, I was just putting it all on the table. I was like, yo, it is what it is. So Haskiri and I, we finished eating, and then I'm going to the car. I'm like, hopefully they didn't tow the car. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna get home. And the car didn't get towed, and I didn't get a ticket.
And you know what's crazy? That they always give tickets. Like, there's no way he wasn't gonna like.
I was begging for a ticket that night. Yeah. If you really think about it, like that's a perfect setup for like to get your car towed. There's no way you're gonna get that off. But I guess God was with me that night. You feel me? So we were in the car and like we're making jokes and whatever. And I see Haskiri laughing at my jokes. I'm like, oh, you think this is funny? I ain't even turn up yet. Like, so I said to her,
can make me laugh too, like, because it's like I feel like sometimes life could be so serious, and when you find somebody that can make you laugh, it like, I don't know, makes it feel easier.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, it shows you the polarity. It shows you that not everything has to be, life is hard, but then again, we can still have fun.
But his jokes was crazy. And that's a story for another time. I know there's so many stories.
No, but Haskiri became disrespectfully funny too, though. Yeah. She can't be around me and Brandon, me and my brother. So basically, I said, yo, what kind of music you like? She's like, oh, I like this. I like Justin Bieber. Shorty hit me with the Justin Bieber. So I said, when she was telling me her music selection, when you date somebody and they tell you what kind of music they listen to, you start to see how they were raised.
I was a radio
in my opinion
kind of girl.
So I said, oh, okay, cool. Like, I said, you listen to J. Cole? You listen to Drake? She's like, oh, yeah. And I said, okay, have you heard this song? And I'll play the song. So this little Honda I had was like, it was a hoopty. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you right now, the system in that joint was fire.
One thing about
I always made sure I had a system in the car, you feel me? So I'm playing the song and I'm like, you never heard this song? She's like, no. I said, what? She said, no. I said, okay, hold on. What about this song? She said, no.
Yeah.
I said, after like 10 songs, I'm like, what Drake or J. Cole or Kendrick song have you listened to? She's like, so I showed her like best I ever had, like the radio hit. She's like, yeah, I know this one. I'm like, oh my God. Wow. You don't really know music like that. Like I took it. So that was like 1 a.m. No, it was probably like 11 o'clock at night when we was because we were still sitting in the same spot in front of the fire hydrant.
It was a little later, like 11, 12, yeah. Closer to midnight, I would say.
Then I put a concert on.
Yeah.
So the songs that I chose, Drake Connect,
Chris
Brown, I should have kissed you. Chris Brown, yeah, that was
no.
I was hitting the notes and everything.
When you think when you hear him say he put a concert on, no, he put a concert on. He was singing to me, his lungs out.
Listen to this though.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was in the passenger like, ooh, okay.
Nah, yo, because I was like, yo, you never heard this song before. She's like, nah.
You started flicking the lights on the car, like.
No, I didn't, bro. Yo, she's funny. You see, I'm telling you, Haskiri's gonna.
He's like, I should have kissed you, and I was like, oh, okay, the lights.
Oh man, she's lying. Listen, that's funny. So, Shorty's funny. I'm that big in that little car. I'm like the guy from Monster, like the cartoon, the big blue guy. Yes. Nah, it didn't go down like that, bro. I'm singing to her and she's like, I'm singing the song with her. I'm like, yo, you heard that? Okay, boom, boom, boom. Connect was a good one or whatever. So I saved the Chris Brown one for last.
Yeah.
So Haskiri looks at me, she goes, I think we should start heading back to my crib. And because I told her, I said, yo, you want to head back? She goes, yeah, I got work in the morning. I said, damn, I wish you would have told me that. It was like 2:30 in the morning now. So I'm like, yo, I would have stood there to next day with you, right? So we pulled up to a crib and I said, I want to show you one more song. And I showed you I should have kissed you. And then I said, I would hate to be like Chris Brown. Like, I would hate to feel like this. Like,
that's so I don't want to, but it's so good.
It was good, but it came off more smoother than that. It was after the song finished and I said, I would hate for that to happen to me tonight.
Yeah.
She goes, well, it won't. And she leaned over and we kissed like a couple of times, tap, tap, tap. And I was like, oh my God, I kissed her. I took her on a date. I got her. Like I knew I had the burning desire to get you. Go ahead.
But it wasn't that romantic to kiss, because at first I thought we were gonna kind of kiss, and you was going in for like a peck, and I was going in for like an actual kiss. Like
that's
I would say French kiss, and it was just like a little awkward
tongue kiss.
Moment. Yeah.
I'm gonna be 1,000 with you. I'm not tongue kissing somebody the first day I meet them.
Damn,
I gotta see if you got like a candida infection, like
well, that's
thrush.
True. Now that I've learned about that from you, thank you.
No, but I'm saying, but I also think that's not respectful neither. Like, well, yeah, I just met you and I'm tonguing you down in the car.
But yeah, so what I'm trying to get to is that shit was so awkward for me, and I literally went home thinking about it for the rest of the night. Like I couldn't sleep because I was like, why would I do that?
No.
I was texting my friend like, girl, you don't know what the hell I just did.
Listen.
I was so embarrassed.
I'm telling you this right now.
I was literally so embarrassed. Like, just think about it. I'm getting hot because I'm like,
no.
Why did I do that?
I knew that you thought that after we first went, and I was like, oh, she want the tongue. She thought I want the tongue kiss, but then I corrected it, and then we just played it off.
Yeah,
well,
then it was. I
already knew that, but I'm like, yo, I'm not here for like one step at a time. I'm really here for you, bro. Like I want to marry this woman. Like this is my girl right here. Like I just felt it in my heart You just get those feelings, bro. And I just took my shot. So when I pulled off, I called my boy in Miami, the dude that raised me. He's like 10 years older than me. I'm like, yo, bro, I went on a date. This happened. Now he's Dominican. And I had, I'm half black and half white, right? My father's black, my mother's white. I have the last name Ortiz from my mother's last marriage. My grandmother was there. It's a long story.
Which is in the first chapter of his book.
The first chapter of the You Never Knew, right? But we'll tell that story too if you guys have questions. But I'm not Hispanic, but I grew up around Hispanics. My older brother and sister are Hispanic. My cousins are Hispanic. But I was the first black kid in my family. But I have the last name Ortiz. So the dude that raised me, he was Dominican. And I called him. It was like 4 a.m. He like, yo, bro, what's good? I said, yo, bro, I just took short. He's like, oh my God, bro, this is gonna be your wife. I said, bro, she's fired. He goes, bro, I already know, bro. She's Dominican.
Period.
I said, well, she's half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. He goes, bro, he's half asleep. Yeah. He said, bro, it's best of both worlds, but if her mother's Dominican, she's Dominican. He's very prideful of being Dominican. So I hung up or whatever, went home. I talked to my dad. It was like 5 a.m, went to sleep. And then from that day, that was our first date. And then, so we met, sliding each other. I slid in your DM. Then I took my shot. Then I had to worry about, okay, now I have to go back to school. So I have one more day left. And now I'm practicing on how do we have I knew I wanted to be with you. How do we go about long distance?
Right. I didn't even know where Delaware was. Like, I'm thinking he was like literal, like on the other side of the country almost. I was like, Delaware? What's Delaware? Like, I never heard of that. And you're like, oh, it's like 3 hours away or something. And then just thinking about it brings me back to like the big purple bus. Yeah. Like, we have a whole video on our Love Across the Hudson YouTube, but it's like making that work. And I've never been in a long distance relationship before, so I was like, how does this even work? Like, what? Like, all these questions arise. Yeah,
that's natural. That's natural. So what happened was Haskiri hit me up, and I woke up the next morning. I'm like, hey, good morning, whatever, how are you? And she's like, I'm good. She's like, how are you? She's like, I'm working right now. I said, okay, that's what's up. She goes, what are you doing later? I was like, nothing. And she's like, if you want, you can come by my job. And, I work in a gym or whatever. It was called Equinox. I never even heard of this gym. I'm like, I bet. So, I went to my little brother. I'm like, yo, look, man, I got $5 left. I need some help and whatever. He's like, all right, here. He's like, you got to pay me back. I'm like, I'm going to pay you back, bro. So I went to the city and I got parking. So I went in and Haskiri's like, she wanted to work out. That was our second date kind of thing. It was right after the first date though. But the whole time I'm prepping, like, we need to have a conversation. I need to be upfront with you. Like, yo, I'm about to go back to school. Like, I'm a little nervous a little bit or whatever.
When he confirmed that he was going to come to my job, your girl wasn't making a lot of money, okay? I had like less than $100 in my account, okay, my Chase Bank. But I was like, oh, he's coming, so we're going to get a workout in. I go, Equinox had this little like shop, and my friend worked there, Luis, and he's like, oh, you gotta get these tights, like these are the ones. And they were like this crazy pattern, and I was like, period, whatever you say, that's the one I'm gonna get. When he rang me up, even with the discount, it was $60. And I was like, it was a hard pill to swallow, and I was like, I have to impress him, I'll do it.
Yo,
I think my account went overdraft, I'm not even gonna lie.
Impress me. Now listen, this is when I was like,
I bought the matching set, pants and top, okay? Your girl was in. I was in it for the long haul. Yeah.
No, this is when I was in like tip top shape because I just got finished with football season.
Right.
And I just came back from Miami. So I went.
And I never really worked out. So that's why.
No, Shorty did not work out.
No.
But let me tell you something. I walked in and I have this speech in my head or whatever. And she even told me like to change of clothes and have a shower. I'm like, what kind of gym you trust enough to shower in? Like, Planet Fitness, and Crunch, not Crunch, Planet Fitness and Retro Fitness is what I was going to at the time. So I was like, or the park with the monkey bars. And until I got back down to school. So I pull up and I'm like preparing a speech. Like, how do I tell her about like the long distance relationship? Is she ready for that convo? Yo, Shorty came down with these pants. You have a picture of those pants?
No, but.
Bruh.
I don't think I do.
I told you the night before, I didn't want to be, I'm not being disrespectful or rude. I'm just like, I saw a glimpse and I was like, I already knew you had a body. Yeah. Yo, bro, listen, let me tell you something. We went upstairs. Shorty was like, well, I'm going to stretch real quick. And yo, bro, I'm mad respectful. We can get your dad on here. We can get,
girlies.
you know, we can listen. I'm mad respectful. I'm not gonna sit. So I had to play it off and look this way and look that way. But then she would like purposely like do these stretches that you don't need to do. Like these stretches are not stretches that you need to do.
More than what I could have stretched, but I was like,
so then
trying to be cute. But I was like,
as soon as I saw her doing lunges, I was like, okay, she got internal rotation going on with her knee and her foot. It's pronating. I'm like, oh, she doesn't really do lunges like that. She may be getting tired, and I think she's trying to show off a little bit, but I don't mind. Like, because we were working out together, and I was like, she's trying to not put like a face on, like, grunting face, and she was mad sexy doing it, and I was like, Shorty thinks that she don't know that I know that her nervous system and her central nervous system, the way her knees collapsing in. I go to school about this is what I do for, you know, not for a living at the time, but this is what I do.
Yeah, you was learning it,
So then I remember after whatever, I was like, it was a great time. I did not want that night to end. And then I went downstairs, took a shower at Equinox. And then I came out, I was like, yo, where do you get that soap and that lotion from? Like, what is that? And then it was just like a whole crazy experience. And I was like, how much is it to train here? He was like, oh, it depends. It could be like a membership can be anywhere from like 100 to 200. I'm like, damn, people pay 100 to 200. Then little you know, a couple of years later, I become all access member.
Yeah, right.
Right, because the money thing became. I mean, we were able to do what we wanted to do, chasing our dreams. So I'm saying that to say it's funny to think about that memory.
Moment though, because the other day I got a direct message from Kiehl's, because that's the brand that Equinox uses. Kiehl's lotion is that it was like that orangey kind of lotion.
Yeah.
They just wrote to me on Instagram and was like, hey, we would love to send you some stuff. And I was like, period, send it my way. Yeah, but full circle moment, because like I remember using the Equinox showers because I loved, first of all, they had like eucalyptus towels, like towels.
Yes.
I used to be like, say less, give it to me.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was just like high quality, that something that you and I didn't have back at home. So if we were in a space that provided that, best believe I'm going to take full advantage.
Bro, Poland Spring. My entire life.
Right.
And Dove soap.
Right.
When I had that soap in there.
Spring. Use Irish Spring.
I mean, Irish Spring. Poland Spring is the water.
Poland Spring is the water, but you said Dove soap, but you used Irish Spring.
I used Irish more. Yo, bro, chill.
Sorry.
It was $2 for $1, man. Damn, son. I was broke.
Wait,
Dove was $1.29. They get the two.
When you came to my house.
I said I did. But I'll tell you one thing. I always had that Dove. It's Dove or Dove?
Dove.
I always had that Dove deodorant. Best to believe that. Women's Dove deodorant, because it's the only thing that sticks and stays and smells fresh after playing a long day of football, something like that. So
we just cut to a sponsorship.
No. None of this is an ad, by the way. None of this is ad. So basically, so I get out the shower, whatever, and then Haskiri and I, we go in the car, and I said, what are you gonna do right now? She's like, oh, nothing. I was like, I can take you out to eat. And she's like, okay. I said, you ever been to Chili's? She's like, no. I said, I'm gonna take you to Chili's. They got this thing called 2 for $20. It's fire.
Nah.
So we went over and I said, I want to take you to Jersey. I want to take you to my hood now. I was in your hood. Now I want to take you to my hood a little bit.
You didn't tell me they had 2 for $20 though.
I didn't. When I got there, I told you. Sorry.
When you got there, I opened up the menu, and you were like, "Actually, we're gonna go to the end because the 2 for $20 was at the back of the menu." And he was like, "Look, it's gonna be on this side." And I was like, "Oh, okay," because I was looking at the first couple pages, and that's where any meal would be for like $30 a pop.
Yeah.
And he was like, "We're just gonna." He like reached over. I was like, "We're just gonna over here." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well.
But it was rocking. That became our stop.
Come on, dog. Basically, after that date, Haskiri and I had to decide okay, we're starting off as a long distance relationship. What are we gonna do about this? How are we gonna make this happen?
Because this was just us dating though. Like we were like
we weren't official boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, it wasn't like official, but we wanted to get to know each other more. So we're like, okay, it's gonna be long distance. So how do we date in this long distance world? Like, how does that look? Like,
absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna be sharing more of that story with you. But I hope you enjoyed this first episode on how we met and you know, our first date, and also starting off as a long distance relationship. You know,
and I guess something to just, you know, just bring awareness to is like, it pays to be so honest and just be your authentic self. You could almost like be so hard on yourself and almost lose your soulmate because you don't want to be honest and genuine with who you are to them. Like if Nate would have came with a different approach of like, yeah, I got money, this is what I do, I'm like, okay, well, bye. We probably wouldn't even be here right now.
No.
But the fact that he showed up as himself, authentically, unapologetically, just him, that's what drew me to him. So like, always be yourself, because you just never know. You could be talking to your literal soulmate, like your life partner.
Yeah, even with Haskiri, like I tell people all the time, people say, oh, Haskiri's so beautiful. You know, when people meet you, I'm like, yeah, she's beautiful physically, but she's even more beautiful. Yeah. Her soul's more beautiful. Yeah. So I wasn't so much like, the body was just like, I was like, yo, I'm winning all the way.
Yeah.
It was really like your spirit, something in you. Like, it was just, just my soul was directing me. It was weird. I know it could sound a little weird, but it was like, same. I felt it, yo. And I was like, I don't care what I have to do. At least if you turn me down, then I know I tried. And then also, if you don't turn me down, I know that I don't want to ruin my trust with you, right, or lead you the wrong way. I want to be upfront, because I really just, I don't know how to explain that. I was like, yo, this is the one for me. Yeah. And I think, and if I wasn't thinking about who you was hanging out with, I wasn't insecure what you wore, because I saw the dudes at your job, like, trying to like, oh, y'all gonna work out, like hating because they wanted you. But I didn't really care for that. I wasn't an insecure dude. I'm like, nah, bro, like, so if you're in this same situation, you're in that time frame like I was, bro, you can't be waiting around all the time thinking that, sometimes you got to shoot your shot and just put it all on the table. Like, in the next story, my mom, she meets my father. Right. First woman to ever meet my father without waiting a year or two.
Right. 48 hours.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting time.
And also, like, the worst thing someone can say when you show up as your authentic self is no. But wouldn't you want someone to say no? Because then that's not the one for you. You want someone to love you and admire you and support you and cheer you on for the things that you love to do and for the person that you are, right? Because eventually it's going to come out. So yeah, you could put up a front for the first month or so, or even 6 months, right? But eventually it's going to come out, because you're going to want to live your best life and you're going to want to do things that you love. And if you hide that from the beginning, then you won't be able to do those things, or it's just going to create a clash and all that time goes to waste. I
wanted to show Haskiri who I was, who my family was up front, because I also had a different side. I wasn't just like this broke, sad kid. I was very confident. I'm like, yo, you can do this right now. Put this in front of me. I can figure it a way out. Or she was so impressed by like how I just knowledgeable, right?
Yeah, I was say you came with like knowledge.
But I was trying to say to you, I was like, look, yeah, that comes with knowledge, but let me show you where I come from. Yeah. Let me show you why I'm hungry the way I'm hungry, as far as for success. Yeah. Exactly. And I used to just, Haskiri, like, yeah, I'm an actress, but I know people who didn't. I'm like, nah, you said you want to be an actress, you're going to be an actress. Like, no, I'm, I have my dreams too. I was like, look, I don't got money, but just hang around me for a little bit. That was my thing. I was like, I'm going to be vulnerable. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I'm broke right now, but I'm telling you right now, I will make money one day. Yeah. And so we want to bring this episode to you and want to respect your time and not get too crazy and organize these things as much as we can. Yeah. And if you have any questions, leave it down below. And the first episode is done. We did it.
Yeah. I'm excited for this journey. So much to like give, and also really excited to like dive back into like our memories and see how we overcame. Because like even talking about this story is really interesting because you kind of see it from a different perspective now.
Yeah, so I never knew that your love at first sight was when you stepped in the car.
But I've also been somebody who's never really likes to talk about her emotions. I'm emotional, but I don't like to talk about them as much.
Yeah, we'll cover these stories for you. We'll roll this thing out with stories and so things you can go back to and get to know us a little bit. But we'll have segments in the show. It's gonna be fun. It's all about, I love her, but I'm not trying to talk about her all day. I'm not gonna lie. Like I love you, but
same.
Yeah, I'm not trying to talk about you all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to look at her when I wake up. I gotta sleep next to her, which is not a problem. She's beautiful.
I'm going to punch him after we're done here. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm playing. No, but I was trying to get him mad.
No, but another thing I want to throw out there before we officially end it is if y'all come from Love Across the Hudson, A1 Day Ones, let us know.
Yeah, let us know down below.
Yeah. Oh, down below. I like that. See?
Come on, dog. That's what we do, dog. Ya tú sabes.
Concert. Nate Ortiz. This is where you cue the links.
let us know. That's a good idea. Let us know if you come from Love Across the Hudson, or if you come from Be Great with Nate, or you come from Haskiri Velasquez, Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Soon,
it'll be dope to see.
I'll have my own too.
Yeah, but it'll be dope to see like where they're coming from and how you heard of us, or maybe you just found us on the algorithm or something like that. Maybe we popped off like 5 years from now, or even like 5 months or like a year. We popped off where people are coming back to watch this, and we're not cutting this part out. We're keeping it.
That's right.
Because we're just starting.
I like that.
I was about to start rhyming.
I knew he was gonna. I was waiting.
Stop. But we out of here, man. We gotta go because we gotta go watch the show.
Yes, we're gonna watch the Tony Awards. We got a few people on there. Yeah, I was gonna say names, but it's okay. We don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, you'll make the connection later. But if somebody's performing tonight, that's my client, and I gotta see how he performs.
One of my mentors as well is on there.
I gotta see how bro performs.
All right. Well, thank y'all for lending us your ears. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.
Que lo que?